Welcome. So, Gentle Mondays is starting in the chair today. So this gentle class is focusing around our ability to let go. And there's a particular focus around this area. So the head, the eyes, the jaw, the cheeks, the lips, the throat, excuse me, the throat, the neck, and the shoulders. So it's a familiar place where we hold tension, quite high in the body. And that seems to be fairly universal. Very few people, if any, don't have some tension holding somewhere around this area. And it can become quite an habitual pattern where we don't even notice we're doing any holding. And we can take that through into sleep, and we might have a clenched jaw, we might wake up feeling kind of almost like we've been tensing or doing something really hard with the jaw area and the cheeks, and that just doesn't feel comfortable for most of us, but we kind of very used to living with a degree of tension high in the body. So we're looking to explore new ways of letting that go. So that's why I'm suggesting we start in the chair, because we haven't got to other distractions or other complications of relying on the floor and I explain something different. Then sometimes you feel you need to kind of sit up and watch, and not everybody's comfortable on the floor. So finding a chair that's supportive and comfortable for you, and I know not everybody has the right kind of chair with the right kind of height. So I'm not showing my feet at the moment, but my feet are resting on the floor. So if you struggle to get full support of the feet on the floor, then my suggestion is that you put something under your feet, ideally something warm but with a harder surface. So obviously I use the yoga blocks, but if you could use a book, or if not, a book with a blanket on or a towel on, just to create some comfort for the toes and the feet, but at the same time some sort of hard surface that you can really connect with the support of the ground. And before you completely settle, what I'm suggesting to do a breathing exercise in a moment is a straw. I can't see that very clearly. So this is a metal straw. But obviously get what you got. If you haven't got a straw, then you're just going to blow through your lips. So maybe just for a moment, if you need to pause the video and go and get the straw. Put that to one side for a moment. Okay, so finding a way, firstly, to come back to our bodies sitting on the chair, and sitting with the bodies so we feel like we've got enough support, so that we don't need to collapse. So I'm collapsing forward, and now I'm trying to give a little bit more sense of connection, a little bit more sense of uplift, gentle uplift. I want to be comfortable, a gentle uplift through the spine, if possible. So ways to do that, you can play with the toes a little bit, moving the feet or the toes, just to waken up the legs, move the hands maybe, just on the lap. And you just do a little bit of a wriggle to be comfortable. Just do your wriggle to wake up the body for a moment so it can settle but still be awake to your experiences in experiences particularly. So maybe a sigh or a bit more of an out breath, and then just settling in the chair. So feeling the feet on the floor or wherever they're supported, feeling the thighs resting on the chair, the bottom on the chair, ever parts of the back that are resting in the back of the chair. Let the shoulders release through the weight of the elbows and the hands on the lap. And just let things soften now. Let the body feel soft in the chair without collapsing. So there's that sense of allowing allowing the body to release and let go into the support of the chair, but as I say, not so much that you're collapsing forward with the shoulders, just let the shoulders relax down from the ears. But the whole of the rib cage is effectively just sinking down, but sinking down above the pelvis rather than coming forward in order to release. So just releasing the body without collapse if possible. If you need to move the head at any point, just gently move the head from side to side if that's feeling tense or tight. So soften, ground through the body, connection with the chair and the floor, and release any tension that you know you're holding. There might be areas we don't know we're holding, but there might be some clear kind of messages coming through that, oh yeah, that tension coming. There's some form of discomfort or just a feeling of knottiness or tightness somewhere in the body. So just encouraging that area to soften, to let go. It doesn't need to be working. We're sitting and resting, it doesn't need to be working. Just enough to keep us safe in the chair and grounded. So noticing the breath now. So whatever helps you to do that, whether it's hand on the belly or noticing the belly or noticing the whole of the torso be affected by the breath. You don't need to change it, you just notice it. And it will change as you notice it, but that's the process. You're just noticing and see what happens. So encouraging a sense of breath in the back of the body, not just the front of the body. So sensations, how the breath might feel in the lower back, in the mid back, and in the upper back, particularly around the shoulders. Sometimes when we get a sense of the breath in particularly the upper back, then we have a little bit more sense of actually feeling the spine naturally rising from the tail, from the coccyx, from the connection with the pelvis, right up to the skull. So just feeling the breath in the back body and being aware of the spine, the back body, from tail to skull. So just next, noticing the next 4 or 5 breaths here. And paying particular attention to what happens with the out breath on release, rest and digest stage. And that is our ability to calm the nervous system down. And we're calming ourselves down, but not to the extent that we're going to drop into sleep. So we're needing to keep just enough focus, just enough of that sense of awakeness to be observant, witnessing what's going on. So we're going to move to either the straw breathing, if you've got a straw, or blowing through pursed lips, if that isn't possible. It was like your own straw. Sure. Okay. So you're familiar with extending the out breath, and we've done that in lots of different ways. And I think most of you are familiar with the straw breath, but we've not probably done this for a little while. And it's just the easiest way of extending the out breath. So let's see how we go. So my suggestion is, as long as the nose is clear, that you're breathing in through the nose, but you're breathing out through the straw or through pursed lips. And that if you are using the straw, when you've done the out breath, my suggestion is you take the straw out of the mouth, so the mouth closes and you can breathe in through the nostrils. If that's not possible, then obviously in and out, partly by breathing through the mouth. So taking a breath in through the nose, and then blowing out through the straw or the closed lips. Breathing in through the nose. So find your own rhythm and your own way of coping, managing, finding a way to have a smooth, light, but extended out breath if possible. So it's no strain, no force, no making it happen. Inviting the breath through, a subtle breath through the pursed lips via the straw. So I'm suggesting another 10 breaths. So we're doing we're doing it over an extended period. So doing your best to breathe through the nostrils and closing the mouth on the in breath. And on the out breath, the straw goes to the lips if you got that, and just blow as gently as you can. So for the next 2 breaths, really notice what goes on in the belly as you blow out. And for the next 2 breaths, see what it feels like through the shoulders as you breathe out. And when you've got a sense of how it feels in the belly and how it feels in the shoulders, then just have a sense of the quality of feeling you're left with. So whether you're tired, whether you're rested, whether you're distracted, whatever sense you have about the overall impact, if you like, of extending the out breath. But you may have lost count, don't worry. So if you've finished, fine, put the straw down. If you feel like you need to do one more because you're counting and you're able to just finish up there with that extra out breath, and do so, and then just sit comfortably. So at the moment I brought my hands together, that felt like the right thing to do. You might want to keep your hands still on your lap. Okay. So if that's helpful to bring you down, calm you down, relax and release, then you've got a yoga snack there available at any point to do 10 breaths while seated. You can do while standing, of course. But that's maybe one option if it's helpful. If you feel like I'm not quite got it, but I can see its potential, then it's the yoga snack, because it's something else you can try out to get more comfortable with how you manage to keep the lips creating that really sort of long, light, soft, but ultimately extended and deeper out breath. Okay. So we're going to work on a technique that comes from a different practice, which I've not really introduced to you because it's fairly new to me, Feldenkrais work. And it's really very much about finding ease and softening, and it does some strange but clever things. So we'll have a play with this, and it's very much working specifically around the jaw and the mouth, and to some extent the eyes and the forehead. Okay, so if you just take your hand to your chin and separate your lips and your jaw slightly, and then I'm going to have to do it first, and then I'll tell you what I'm doing. think I'm sorry, to be honest. So I'm relaxing the jaw. So I'm allowing my hand, I think my thumb and my finger are really relaxed on the chin. I'm just letting the lower jaw slightly release and return. I'm trying to make that smooth as possible rather than tight. So it's a small movement. So it's like this bit stays where it is, and I'm moving independently the lower jaw. And then release the hand for a moment. Okay, nice to do sounds occasionally as well, by the way, during this. So it's going to loosen and release the lips. So this time we're moving the jaw from side to side slightly. So again, soft with the hands, you're not pressing into the chin. And just see if you can move the jaw from side to side. Softly as you can. And then relax the hand. Okay, so now we're going to take the tongue, tip of the tongue into the side of the cheek and just play around with it really. So just creating the shapes. So it's just a connection of the tongue, and then think lightly again. So you can do it harshly or you can do it lightly, which is softening the muscles of the tongue. So see if you can do it softly. So whichever side you're choosing, go for that side. How soft can you make that? So like painting a wall, but really haphazardly with the tongue. And then relax the tongue. Okay, so it gets even more strange. So what we're doing with the tongue, we're going to take, so I've gone onto this side with my tongue into this side of the cheek. So I'm going to stay on this side of the face, and I'm going to take my tongue under my upper lip, but over to this side, which is my right side. If you're looking at me, it would be up to the left. So whichever side you worked on with your tongue, then you're going to take the tongue above the teeth and into the side. So just finding a way to do that, and then finding a slow, relaxed way of doing it. So you take it up and you bring it back down. Take it up and you bring it back down. So there needs to be just enough effort to be able to push the tongue up into the back of the lips, really, up into the gum area. But you do with as much ease as you can. As slow as you can. Notice if it gets easier, if it gets almost like you're getting cramp in it. If you do that, you just need to stop. You're doing too tense. A couple more, soft as you can. Making contact, the tip of the tongue with the side of the upper mouth. And then just relaxing neutral. And not surprisingly, we tend to do opposites. We're going to take the tongue down on the same side. So we say I've been focusing on my right cheek. It went up to above underneath the lip, that side. So we're going to go down on this side. see how that goes. Slow it up if you can. Soften it. Making sure the tongue does actually go down to the gum on this. It's getting easier. It's getting more difficult. Get easier then more difficult. Kind of waves. So does it start to feel like the lips are softening? One more time. Great. And relax. So have a sense of this side of the face, side of the lips, side of the jaw, side of the neck. Maybe exactly the same as the other side, it might feel different. How's it on this side of the shoulder, the side that you've been working on? That's a breath. Does it feel through the nostril on the side you've been working? Okay, let's go to the other side. So, starting with taking the tongue to the side. Just straight out into the cheek. And it might be easier or more difficult. So if you know you found a way to soften, just see if you can do it the same on the second side. Slow, easeful, just enough effort to get that contact and a little bit of pressure through the tip of the tongue. So the mouth needs to be open a little bit, but not so far that it's creating tension in the side cheek. Trying to loosen and soften there. Got more time. Slow if you can. And then relax. Taking the tongue to the upper lip underneath. Get behind the teeth and between the lip. See how that goes. How can you make it softer? More easeful? Sufficient touch, but fairly light touch. Maybe you could breathe out as you take the tongue up towards the inside of the lip. A couple more times. And then relax. Tongue's not a completely worn out. Then do the bottom, the opposite side of the, keep it on the second side now. So taking the tongue down over the teeth, just down the inside of the, beyond the lip really, isn't it? Use an out breath again. You should take the tongue in this direction with as much lightness as possible. more time. Relax. So at any point, do anything you need to do to move, just a bit of a rock. Your shoulders over the back of the chair. The head just moves around a bit. Out sigh or an out breath in some shape or form. Okay. Feeling the second side. How's it feel in the cheek, in the jaw, in the neck, in the throat, in the shoulder on the second side? And then we're just going to go to the jaw business again, as we started with. So taking the hand or the thumb and the forefinger to the side of the chin, on each side. And then just see, as you release the jaw down slightly, how it feels. Open and closing. Find it easy if you can. And then doing the movement from side to side. And relax. Get the feet up for a moment. Just remind yourself you've got legs. You're not just head and shoulders. Excellent. Okay, so just going to do a couple more things in this area. So if you take one hand to the chin, base of the jaw, and you take another hand, finger maybe actually, to below your nose and above your lip, and just take one finger in one direction and the other finger in the other direction. So there's a bit, it's like the skin is going in opposite directions. And allow the jaw to move with the movement of the fingers. Really, I don't know. And then taking the maybe two fingers and just placing them on the forehead. And same again. Okay. So we're going to bring, might be easier if I just say this. If we take our tongue to the left cheek and bring the right shoulder up and forward. And then release. 3 more times. Pressing the tongue gently into the left cheek and bringing the right shoulder up. And then gently releasing both. 1 more time. So the shoulder comes forward, will come up, but it's mainly taking out coming forward to the other side. So I'm going to take my tongue into the opposite cheek. So it's left shoulder and right cheek for you. You push the tongue slightly into the cheek, the shoulder comes forward. Times and relax. And just pause for a moment. A couple of more things to do in the chair. You get a sensation of how it feels in the jaw now, how it feels in the tongue, how it feels in the cheeks, how it feels in the lips. Yeah, I'll leave it for now. Okay. So we've done some of these movements before, and we've certainly done them in other positions where we're round the back, bringing the head forward, and then we create a little bit of an arch in the lower back, and we look up. So we're doing those movements in the chair. So an in-breath with your chest coming forward and locking up, shoulders slightly resting back down. And as we round the back, let the chin come forward towards the chest. So if it's comfortable, as you reach the head up next time, open the jaw. So the head will go slightly further back. And then close the mouth and the jaw as you come forward. If that feels okay for the neck, then one option to add in is as you tip the head back, you pull the tongue out. And then bring it back in. So I know this is really unusual. So as you tip the head back, it's comfortable to take the tongue out. Just try and release the shoulders rather than forcing them back. A couple more times, whether you're doing all of that or just some of that. And on this last time, just notice what happens with the base of the spine as you tip the tongue out. If you're doing that, of course, and then rest in center. And relax the shoulders, relax the jaw. Relax the whole area of the mouth. So that was a stronger movement, but it was linking the top of the tongue all the way down through the throat and really down into the belly. And it was also linking changes in the spine. So as we arched here, as you stick the tongue out, the potential is there's a little bit more of a curl under into the arch, and then there's a release. So it's working partly with the mouth and partly with how the mouth, the gullet, the spine all interact and potentially. And that movement tends to enliven a little bit as well. So most of the movements were kind of, okay, I'm going down, I'm releasing. That one's just got a little bit of, okay, it's a little bit of internal energy being woken here. So be interested in that as well as what's going on in this whole area here. Okay, so we're going to move to, we're going to stay in the chair. So we're going to stay in the chair, but we're moving from those movements, Feldenkrais movements, to somatic movements, which again we do all the time, but I don't always give them the label. So we would more likely do twists standing or lying down. So today we're just trying to try how things go. We're just going to do a few strange things as well with this, which is a bit Feldenkrais, by the way, but it's somatics where I've learned it from. Okay, so if you take the right hand to the left shoulder, try to mirror, you can tell I'm concentrating, with the opposite to you. Press down through the bottom, the sitting bone, so you lengthen through the spine, and you may even be taking your back away slightly from the chair, but don't have to. Okay, and then look over your left shoulder as you take your left hand, your left shoulder behind, and come back to neutral. So just see how you can get into a flow with that. Don't take the gaze too far back if the neck isn't comfortable. Maybe out breath to go back. In breath to return, or hold the breath and then release the breath. Next time you go back looking over your left shoulder, just keep the head looking in that direction for a moment. So keep the shoulder and the hand where they are, and gently take the head to look over the opposite shoulder, so towards the left shoulder. Really softly doing that. As you bring the shoulder back into neutral, look over the left shoulder. As you take the left shoulder back, look over the right shoulder, and just doing it. So basically you're doing the opposite to the way we were doing it before. So the head and the eyes look in the opposite direction. You just have to get the shoulder moving forward and back, and you then realise it's just an obvious sequence of opposite to what you did before, for the neck and the gaze. If that's too strong, then just leave the head in neutral. If you've got it, then stick with the original way. Okay, and relax and release the hand down. Relax the whole body. Just move the feet. Keep maybe backing the knees up just to weaken up the feet and legs. Just rock from side to side. So we've done one side. See how you feel in the neck and the throat. Do you go from side to side? So I'm allowing my head as we begin to just subtly do a little bit of a lengthen on one side, shorten on the other, sliding and gliding the head from side to side. Okay, and then back in centre. So this time it's going to be left hand to right shoulder. Slightly press down through the sitting bones to extend through the spine. And then on the next out breath, look over your right shoulder. And return, looking forward. You look away. So as you return back, then look over the shoulder. Come back to neutral. Out breath to twist over to your left side. And then if you want to try the second half, then just pause for a moment with your left shoulder back, looking over your left shoulder, keeping the hand and the shoulder where they are, gently turning the head to look over the opposite shoulder, and then move the shoulder forward and look at over that shoulder. So the head goes in the opposite direction to what it was doing before, but soften, keep soften. Think more kind of a gentle corkscrewing of the neck, and just find a way of smoothly moving from side to side. And if you've had enough, then stop. If you can do 2 or 3 more, then do 2 or 3 more. Finding your own rhythm. And then back in centre, hands rest. Again, just rock from side to side for a moment. Okay. Let's take our heads to the right, but look to the left. Take your head to the left, but look to the right. So eyes in opposite direction to head, if this doesn't make you feel completely discombobulated. Eyes in opposite direction to head. And relax in centre. Look at the wider space for a moment, just soften. Any tension that came in the eyes, so that should actually be working to soften the gaze anyway, but just looking further out, got a window to look out, really look out to the light of the day. Okay, so sweeping the arms up and taking the hands behind the head. Let the head rest into the hands. Slightly arching the back, looking up, taking the elbows out. Bring the elbows in round in the back and heading more in the direction of elbows to knees, chin in. And again, pressing down at the bottom as you bring the elbows and shoulders back and looking up. Elbows in, rounding the back. Elbows out, looking up. Nose in, rounding back. Last time, elbows out. Then come back to neutral. Release the right hand. Okay, so we've still got the left hand behind the head. So if you just take your right hand onto the top of your thigh, kind of groin, hip flexor area. As you take your left elbow back, press down on the right hip. So it's as if the opposite's happening here. So right elbow's going back, right shoulder's going back. Left shoulder's going back, and you're pressing down through the right part of your hip, right sitting bone. And just see if you can go, take the elbow closer to the knee, and back, pressing down on the area of the hip, as well as taking the elbow back. So it's a diagonal across the body. Now, if you feel that comfortable bringing the knee slightly up, that's harder work, then you can do, but only if you want to. So as elbow comes down, knee comes into the center, so there's a little bit of a rounding back, twisting across the body. So the knee can come to the center, the elbow comes to the center. One more time this side, with or without the knee. And relax the arm down, and just let the body be kind of swaying from side to side. And then we're going to do the opposite side. So take the opposite hand to the back of the head. So it's going to be your left hand. It's going to be your right hand. It's going to be your left hand on the top of your hip. Okay, bear with me. And then it's going to be right elbow and shoulder back, left hip down. And then you're going to bring that elbow over to the opposite knee as you round your back. So about 3 of these, and if you want to add the knee coming up towards the elbow and center a bit more, then you can do. Tends to be in breath to go up and back, out breath to round and come forward. So if you want to do the knee, then add in the knee. So it's a spiraling movement. Spiraling into center with leg and with elbow if you're doing that. So up to one more time. And again, releasing the hands, relaxing the shoulders. And just pause for a moment. The shoulders feel the neck, the throat, the jaw, the cheeks. So taking the tongue into one cheek and just doing circles. One way with the tongue. Softly. And in the direction. Softly. And then the other side. And then back the other direction. And then relax the jaw. Let the jaw open and close again. And side to side. Okay, so see how you feel in the mouth and the jaw, maybe the eyes, cheeks, throat, neck, shoulders. So that may or may not have helped. The thing about when we do something new, we overdo things because we're trying to make sense of it, and because we don't feel anything, if we do it softly, then sometimes the temptation is, oh, I just need to do it more then in order to feel it. But But my advice would be to keep reducing the amount of effort if you can. So there's still going to be a little bit of effort to be able to move the tongue around the mouth, but it's only enough effort. It's not creating exaggerated tension if possible. And you just find your way of working with that. Just take a little bit of time, a little bit of practice. But it's certainly changed a lot for me. It's going around what's going on in the jaw, what's going on in the mouth, what's going on in the shoulders. And it's relatively easy. It is an easy thing to do. It's just difficult to do with ease. So yeah, I guess if you end up with a lot of tension, that's going to be a good thing to do. That's an achievable snack. Number 2, taken quite a while just to do this process. So a lot of time sitting. So let's just bring up the knees again. A bit higher if you've got the scope and the hips to do so. So we're going to be standing next. So being aware of what we're going to be doing. Okay, so finding your standing, whichever way is safe, whether it's coming to the side or whatever, and creating space so that you can do some standing, and ultimately we'll be lying down. So I'm going to put my mats out ready to be ahead of myself, behind. So I double mats these days on this hard surface. So at the moment I've got about 12 mats now. I'm storing that cleaned a while ago. They haven't been used generally. I've got 4 that I use. Okay. Okay, so maybe all of us have to some extent just got on the move, and we've moved chairs and we've reorganised ourselves. So be aware now that you're standing and just see how standing feels. See how you feel in your shoulders, particularly and around the throat on standing. And feel the stability or lack of it through the feet, and the weight that's going through the feet and where it's going through the feet. So if we've relaxed and we've let go, then there normally feels a good connection with the feet to the ground. So feeling that, really feeling in the toes, the balls of the feet and the heels, the right foot and the left foot. And whatever creates a sense of greater stability, so feeling your feet closer in, feeling your feet closer out, we're going to be doing as gentle as we can twist, free twist. So that might mean you want the feet slightly wider, but you choose. And then just let the shoulders really gently rock from side to side. And imagine they're continuing to release away from the ears, and the neck, side of the neck's getting longer as you do this. And just let the neck feel free, whether you're looking side to side or you're just looking in front. There's going to be some movement of the head as the shoulders go from side to side. Really puppet arms. So how relaxed could the arms be? How weighted could the wrists and the hands be? So we're not doing anything big. We're not trying to get anywhere. We're just allowing as much as possible of the shoulders to do what the shoulders want to do, and therefore the twist will happen. So we've done quite a bit with the shoulders before. We've done quite a bit of twisting in the chair. So the body kind of knows what to do. It's worked its way through us. And slowing the movement. You need to bring the feet close together. Bring the feet closer together. Okay, so now we're just reaching across the body. Done this before. I feel I want to have my feet further apart again. So keeping with one side for the moment. Just reaching one side. And as you reach up, just look over your opposite, the shoulder. So rather than looking up at your hand, looking at your shoulder, and then bring the hand down. So looking over your shoulder rather than towards your hand, then looking back towards your hand rather than your shoulder as you take your hand up. Looking at your hand as you take your hand up and across. Looking at your hand as you take it up and across. And relax the shoulder. So opposite sides, just reaching across, and your gaze goes where your gaze goes. It tends to go towards the hand. Is sort of like the natural thing to do. What am I doing here? Am I reaching for something? Am I reaching for something? I need to know what I'm reaching for. So the eyes will generally go towards it. The next time the arm goes up, just look over the shoulder instead. So don't make that a hard movement. Again, keep it gentle. If it's feeling harsh, then just look at it. It's not much beyond looking forward because the shoulder comes towards you anyway. And then if you're happy to look up, the eyes will cope with these changes. Looking up as we reach across. As we reach across. Okay. And relax both arms, shoulders. A bit of a sigh. Go back to shoulders twisting from side to side. And relax the arms. Feel the weight of the shoulders, feel the weight of the elbows, feel the weight of the wrists and the hands. Okay. And then we're just going to float one arm up to the side at shoulder level. And let it float down. And opposite arm. That one comes down, the other one comes down. So it's like a flying arm. Do your swan lake arms. Floaty soft. So the joints and the muscles and the tendons and the ligaments all get kind of options to softly operate. Okay. So arms sweeping up now together. So sweeping the arms up, but floaty arms. Take them behind you if you like. It's floaty. Back up. Back up. So if you feel comfortable then when you take the arms up, you could come onto the come onto the balls of your feet. And when you come back down, you might want to bend the knee just slightly as you take the arms down. A couple more times if things feel okay, knees and shoulders. Last time. And we're still again. Okay, so we're going to move into kind of side bends. We're going to make them as easy as we can. So we're just going to drift over to one side and the other side, wherever we are with our feet. Shoulder goes down and releases. Shoulder goes down on the other side and releases. Okay. And next time you come up, then just be in rest for pause for a second. If you had your feet together, then take them hip width apart. If you've got them hip width apart, which we generally do, and just see if you're comfortable bringing the feet broadly together, and then do the same. So the head goes over slightly as the shoulder goes down, if that's comfortable. So obviously it's got to get back up. And back to center, and taking the feet shoulder distance or slightly wider if you haven't tried that stance. It's almost like the arms are sliding down the leg. And you're just trying to go from side to side rather than coming forward with the body. And it's just shoulder down rather than shoulder forward. And back to center. Feet into hip distance apart. Just bring the knees up a little bit. This time sweeping one arm up. And again going over, but this time I've got the arm, so it's a little bit more kind of loosening and lengthening on this side of the upper body. So blowing in the wind, maybe there's some wind out there. I'm doing the recording on a very windy day. You can see the sun, probably notice the sun's coming in and out. Trees are very wavy, so you can have the elbow bent as much as you need to. And then bring the arm down, gently release and relax. See how that feels compared to the opposite arm. And then we'll do the other side, take the arm up. So that's float over. So one side might feel tighter, one elbow or shoulder might feel very different. This is my tighter side. I can feel it, so I'm kind of wanting to work it, but not wanting to force it. Wanting to go within the limit and then just see if I can just find a bit more space to go over. And then gently release the arm down. The second side, relax the shoulders. And just look from side to side, just let the neck get a different view. Really softly. The skull's just resting on the spine and moving from that connected point. Just moving the jaw from side to side, the chin from side to side, and back into neutral. Okay. So, feet are probably shoulder distance now. And hands come up to thighs. So we're doing the cat-cow standing as we did the cat-cow kind of movement in the chair. So rounding the back and bringing the chin and looking down towards the floor. And then bringing the chest forward, arching the back, looking up, and let the lower jaw release. And bring the jaw back together as you bring the chin into the chest, rounding back. If you want to take the tongue out version, then take the tongue out when you take the neck back slightly. A couple more times. And then back into neutral. Get yourself back up. Bring the legs up a little bit. And then hands onto pelvis for a moment. And let's just do a figure of 8. See how that's working? Yeah, so we haven't specifically worked with the hips, but there certainly is an experience of you that when we work on the shoulders, we're also working on the hips. And when we work on our hips, we're also working on our shoulders. So we're broadly working around the upper body. Today we brought the lower body in every so often to make those connections. And through standing, we're working the whole body, to be honest. So we're going to go back down to, we're not going to go back down, we're going to go down to lying on our back for the last few minutes of the session, which is probably another 5 minutes, and it will include sweeping your arms over your head. So just knowing that when you come down, you've got enough space to do that. So I'll just slightly alter things here. So for my comfort, I'm just having this side by side. So we'll be coming to a twisting movement as well. So coming onto your back and feet on the floor, knees bent, arms out to the side, and just noticing the back of the head and the weight of the back of the head. Noticing the shoulder blades and the weight of the shoulders and the shoulder blades. And notice the arms and the weight of the arms and the back of the hands. And noticing the weight through the rib cage, maybe. Back of the rib cage, back of the top of the back of the pelvis. How that meets the floor. And how the feet meet the floor. Just bringing one knee up in towards the chest slightly, keeping the hands down by the side. Just picking one foot up and the knee comes towards the chest, and then the other side. Just moving from side to side for a few movements of the knee. And then both feet on the ground, knees bent still. And starting to create your arch and your flat. So you're arching your lower back and then you flatten the lower back. The arch is the in-breath as the pelvis tips forward. Softening the lower back to the floor. The pelvis comes under you, kind of thing away. That's the out-breath. So see how things are going in the back, in the spine. As you roll on the pelvis, creating the arch and flattening the lower back. And from here, we're going to go into a soft, low-level bridge. So arch in the back, and then flatten the back and take the bottom off the floor. Pressing into the feet. Lower the back down, arch the back again. And then take the bottom off the floor and the lower back slightly off the floor. Lower the back down, arch the back. Lower the back down, pick the bottom off the floor, the lower back, and get kind of to the lower part of the rib cage. So not very far off the ground, your bottom. Lower yourself all the way down smoothly. And create an arch again. Go back to where you were on the lower part of the rib cage. And then come back down, arch the back, and then just pick the bottom off and the lower back. So we're going to reverse. Put the bottom back down, create the arch, just lift the bottom slightly off the floor and lower down. Take the arms out to your side if you can, and take the knees over in one direction and look in the opposite direction. If that's okay for the neck. Back up into centre and go in the opposite direction. So if you like your feet separated, next time you come up, separate your feet to get a bigger sensation down your side body. So you're looking in the opposite direction to your knees. And if things are going okay with this, and you can add in one more thing, then next time you look in one direction, look towards your palm, facing up, and put the other palm, the one you can't see, down towards the floor. And as you bring your knees back up into centre and look in the opposite direction, change the arms over. So you're always looking to the up-facing palm and the other palm facing down. If you're completely lost, then leave it. Leave this rotation of the arms and the shoulders out of it. If the neck's not comfortable, leave that out of it. So about 2 or 3 movements side to side. Just spiraling and twisting. Spiraling and twisting. So next time you're back to neutral, take your arms by your side and have your feet now hip distance apart. Palms are facing down with the arms by the side of your body. Sweep the right arm overhead if you've got space. And bring it back. Take the left arm overhead. And bring it back down. Take both arms overhead, softly as you can. And bring them back. Relax the arms for a moment and extend the legs in front of you. And relax the whole body. If you aren't comfortable with the arms, with the legs extended, then come back to having the feet on the floor. So we're just going to lie here for a few moments. And going back to how we feel in the back of the head. Back of the shoulder blades, back of the arms, back of the pelvis. See if you can feel the breath in the belly, in the waist and in the lower back. See if you can feel the breath in the chest, sides of the rib cage and the backs of the shoulder blades. See if you can feel the breath in the nose, nostril. See if you can feel the breath in the throat. Comfortable just creating that movement with the tongue in the right cheek, just in a circle in the right cheek, one way. And then the other. And then the opposite cheek, one way circle, soft as you can. And then the other direction. Take your jaw to the left, and then your jaw to the right. Soft as you can, jaw to the left, jaw to the right. Couple more times. And then relax the whole body. Relax and release into the support of the ground. Maybe you could sink a layer further than you already have. Lots of layers of letting go. So just lie here for a few more moments. Feeling distracted, then just focusing maybe on counting the breath. Otherwise, just feel the whole breathing body line on the floor. And letting go each time a little bit more on the out breath. And just rest here until I ring the bells. So having a yawn, having a movement, having a rock, side to side, bringing your knees into your chest, whatever feels like a nice way to awaken. If you need to lie for longer, please lie for longer. And at some point, if you are getting up, then roll it over to one side and if you can sit comfortably for a second or two, then just sit comfortably any way you like. And just like I said, this practice, if you repeat the work in the jaw and or you do the stroke breathing quite a lot, then there's huge opportunity to let go of stress, distress, tension, tightness. And they're two fairly simple things. Obviously, the stroke breathing is particularly straightforward. So this idea of a yoga snack, you can do them once a day, you could do them 3 times a day, you could do just some of the movements around the jaw that you find useful. I know I found the movements with the tongue in the jaw and everything really helpful. You have to do it for a little bit of time for it to make an impact, but I kind of feel like sun's come out, like the shoulders start to drift down, all the back muscles start to release down. So there's a lot of tension I've been holding there. And again, the jaw seems to soften a little bit more. I can feel a release down the upper arms. So be interested what happens in the next hour, the next day, and then be interested if you want to drop into trying the yoga snacks out, or do the whole practice, of course, in your own time with this recording. So thank you for letting go and joining me, and have a lovely week.